When you have hair loss, it can be such a scary and deceivingly lonely place. But you know what? You're not alone. You are here with me. Welcome to the Alternative Hair Alchemist podcast. Hi, I'm Deborah Heim. I am a certified alternative hair specialist, a wig boutique owner, and wig wearer myself due to alopecia. And this is my Tell It Like It Is take on all things alternative hair. I also happen to be a certified confidence coach, so I'm going to be sprinkling in some mindset hacks for good measure. So take a deep breath, sit back and relax, and listen to my favorite ways and my best advice on how I help others and help myself to rock that alternative hair. We're going to drop that shame and stigma. What is that about anyway? Now, let's do this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of The Alternative Hair Alchemist. This is Deborah Heim. Very Best Little Hair House is my shop. DeborahHeim.com is my personal site for assistance and coaching services or a Reiki treatment. A whole wealth of things there that I could work with you one-on-one. But this podcast is about alternative hair, and it is my attempt to reduce the shame and also provide you with knowledge about alternative hair, because hair loss affects so many of us. And when you can look good in alternative hair, then you don't have to worry so much that you don't have your own hair, unless you want to. And some people do, but that's a whole nother episode. So this week I wanted to talk about that question that I always get asked by people coming to my shop that are going to be getting alternative hair for the first time, which is, what do I say if someone asks me have a wig on? Or how do I tell somebody I have a wig on? And all of those things we'll just address. I'm going to give you my experience and what I advise and what people have reported back to me. So this way you can go into the situation with maybe some replies prepared, or I'll give you some techniques that you can use to, prepare people for the fact that you're going to wear a wig or a topper. And first and foremost, let me assure you that you can wear a wig or a hairpiece and people not know. So who you tell, bottom line is, that's up to you. It's none of their business. And if anybody asks you a question, no matter where you are, keep in mind you are not hooked up to a polygraph machine. So what you answer them is absolutely what you feel comfortable with. Some people I will tell I have a wig on. Some people no. And the crazy thing is that for 5 years, I am the wig lady. People know I have a wig on, or I assume they know. But I still get people that are surprised or don't believe that the hair I have on my head today is a wig. So, for that, I always look as an opportunity to educate somebody. So I will, depending on the person, sometimes I'll even take my wig off to show them that, hey, this is just something I wear. Now, I know people out there listening that are probably not that upfront, and that's okay. That takes time. My courage really came about because I saw how much it would help other women if I would just be vulnerable myself, take my wig off, because I know one of the reasons I opened my shop the way that I did was I felt really vulnerable taking my wig off in the middle of a crowded store. And I will say my own brother did not know I had gone into wearing wigs until I opened a wig shop. Now, kind of that sounds like, oh, well, gee, maybe he didn't pay as much attention. But for the most part, people really don't look at you at the level of scrutiny that you think they are. Some people are very observant, but for the most part, people change their hair so many times a week nowadays, just bio hair, that they are going to assume that you colored your hair, or that you got it cut, or you got a perm, or highlights or what have you. So let me assure you, any type of change you're going to make in your alternative hair, they are already thinking it's just your hair and you went to a regular salon. And the other thing I can say, because I am also included in this crowd, is that it seems like women with hair loss, and men too, especially men, when you have hair loss and anxiety, or being what somebody might call a high strung person, seems to go hand in hand. So you already have the personality type like myself that is, wants to be perfect, worried about people making them happy and what have you. You also tend to just have anxiety, and I'm not necessarily talking about the diagnosis from somebody of anxiety. It's just that general uneasy feeling. And let me tell you, there is so much of it in all kinds of aspects of alternative hair. And I see it first and foremost. It's kind of like it's a combination therapy appointment and hair appointment when you come to my shop. And I can tell you that the energy change within that first hour, I also incorporate energy healing into my work. The visible change I see within the hour, because women leave feeling so much better about themselves. It's amazing. And that's why I continue to keep doing this work. So the first type of reaction you will probably get, and the one I'm hoping for you, is you will get a supportive or positive reaction from people. They will be understanding. They're going to compliment your wig. They may appreciate your honesty. If there's one thing I'm pretty upfront about, I advocate for honesty. But again, you don't have to tell the truth. Whose business is it? Just your own. But another thing you'll find is, for the most part, people will admire you wearing a wig, because you know what? It does take courage. So if you do that, right now, the way that it is, there's still somewhat of the stigma and the misconception about wigs. So if you wear it proudly, I love you for it. The next type of reaction you get is just the straight up curious one. My hairdresser friend Rosie is just like that. She is so fascinated. She wants to know everything about it. And you're going to get people that ask you genuine questions, like, where did you get it? Is it hot? Is it itchy? How do you fix it? Are you able to color them? There's so many wig questions. In fact, I should do a podcast episode about the questions that you get. But either way, you're going to find people just generously curious. And the thing is when you talk to somebody and you are up front and you are like, hey, this is no big deal, you help them as well, because you don't know if they're going to get into a situation where they have their own hair loss. And instead of being terrified, they are going to be excited about it, because they know you and they know how terrific you look, and that, hey, it's no big deal. And no, it's not itchy, not if you get the right one. Next up, you are going to get people where it makes absolutely no difference at all. Like, they will just go right on to the next question without even thinking twice about it, because that's like the coolest response. You don't ever really know what somebody is thinking, but they're just like, okay, it's a fact, on to the next subject. And they may not have even noticed that it wasn't your natural hair, and they might need a minute to process the fact that it isn't. So be prepared for that too. And the biggest one, the one I get most often, is the surprise or the shock or the disbelief. And like I said, it still amazes me even to this day. People come to the shop, they're in the shop, I'm talking about my wig, and yet when I take it off, they are shocked, because it does look that natural. And they, again, didn't notice, because usually I have a really good hairline going. I make sure my part lays flat. I've learned how to comb my wig periodically during the day so that it looks pretty good. I remember back when I first started wearing wigs, I just thought you put them on and go. And like, I never did any combing or anything. Now I have a system where I will keep my wide tooth comb in my back pocket, which every time you come for a consultation at my shop, I give you one of those combs because it can also work as your lucky charm. So if you ever have a consultation with me, you will get that comb. But I've learned how to keep it in my back pocket or in my purse. And when you go to the bathroom, you give it a quick comb through, especially at the nape, especially if you're wearing a longer wig. And not only does it look better throughout the day, it will extend the life and make it so much more easier to comb when you take it off at the end of the night. But anyway, getting off the subject. And unfortunately, one of the reactions you might get is a little bit judgment. I have had this happen. It depends on the person. Some people are still really scared of wigs, or they have this thing going on where they think that they've been fooled. Like they actually get insulted because look at it this way. Like they feel like, oh, I should have been able to detect it. It makes them feel like not so smart, I guess. I don't know. I'm not into reactions like that or people that have that type of reaction, but I can tell you first and foremost, I know this, especially if somebody says something like, oh, I knew it was a wig all along. No, you didn't. They just feel like, that they're looking stupid, like I said. And it really isn't. To me, that is kind of the highest compliment. Instead of getting your feelings hurt, know that you really look pretty good because this person's now, they're even upset about it. So, and that says more about them than it does about you. And certainly, anybody else's reaction, it's just on them. And I know I get a lot of clients coming in with hair loss that their significant others don't like how doggone good they look with hair. And that, again, is a security problem on the part of the partner. So, you shouldn't be in a relationship where anybody is judging you for any attempt to make yourself feel better. But hey, I'm sure you probably know that by now. And although it is not unusual for you to be a little bit anxious about wearing a wig or what questions people might ask, I do see people from time to time where this fear is so ingrained in their head that they would rather not wear alternative hair or not try because, usually as you grow up, you get some pretty bad programming about wigs. I mean, just things like, the bad toupee jokes, commercials, or like Jerry Springer where they're ripping the wigs off and that's supposed to be kind of funny, that type of thing. Well, that kind of always, that clicks in with that thing I talked about judgment. So, that has nothing to do with you. Wearing good alternative hair is no different from any other type of a prosthetic. In fact, it is when you get the properly constructed wig to your head, it is called a cranial prosthesis, because just like you would have a prosthesis for your arm or you can have a prosthetic eye, nowadays, and most insurance companies are coming along to this thinking, the hair is a natural body part. So, wearing a wig doesn't mean you're trying to hide anything. It doesn't mean that you're not being natural. I mean, I've said it before, we have so many things going on like boob implants, lip injections, eyelash extensions. There is no reason at all whatsoever to be ashamed of alternative hair. And I know that it's still out there. And I have had people deny to me, oh no, I wouldn't be ashamed if I had to wear a wig. But I know that's just simply not true. Or if somebody compliments their hair, they don't want to admit that it's a wig. But hey, that's okay as well. Like I said, it is your hair. quote unquote, your hair. So if you paid for it, it is your hair. If you don't feel like telling somebody, oh, hey, it's a wig, that is totally up to you. And if you are going to start wearing a wig or a hairpiece to your place of work or someplace new, and this is one of my favorite all-time tips that came to me, start during the work week or during your lunch groups or whatever, start talking about the hair appointment you're going to have in a week or so. Oh, I'm so excited to get into this place. They do great work. I can't wait. Stuff like that. And then on the weekend, or let's say your imaginary appointment is on a Thursday evening, then the next day you just come in with your new look, whether you've switched wigs, whether you've switched color, whether it is your first alternative hair, whatsoever. But if it makes you feel better for people to just think it's your hair, that's cool too. You know, you don't get as brave as me overnight, and there are still some situations where I'm not brave enough to just admit that it's a wig, but that is very few and far in between. Oh, that's the other reaction. Like when I tell people it's a wig and they're all fascinated and stuff like that, but then when I share I have alopecia, it's almost like they feel sorry for you, or there's this thing where they feel bad. So, you know, you might expect that too. But here's the way I put it. Don't feel sorry for me, okay? I feel sorry for somebody that can't change their hair every day, that can't rock the look of 5 different colors and 5 different styles. I sure don't want anyone feeling sorry for me because I have alopecia. Like I said, I feel sorry for the people that will not allow themselves the joy of alternative hair. And that's going to wrap it up for me this week. You can work with me one-on-one through DeborahHeim.com. And until next time, peace, love, and alternative hair. If you enjoyed this episode, you might like working with me one-on-one even better. You can check out the options at DeborahHeim.com. You can find my shop at verybestlittlehairhouse.com. And don't forget my Wise Wig Advice and Support group, also on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. But until next time, peace, love, and alternative hair.